introducing Joseph Bonner of the Joseph Bonner Morning Show. He's also a PR expert as well as editor-in-chief of Legend magazine. Joseph, I've been hearing some fantastic things about your magazine. Could you share with us some information on your magazine?
Sure. So Legend magazine, we've only been around for about 7 to 8 months. When we started off, we started focusing on like the socially elite. Today we now focus on mainly positive celebrity news as well as fashion.
So I know you said you focus on celebrities. Do you have any other type of like highlights in your magazine, entertainment?
Well, we do a lot of interviews. So again, our focus is obviously the celebrity news as well as the fashion and entertainment news. We do business spotlights as well for executives who we feel either are in the process of building their legacy or have already built their legacy, because the purpose of Legend magazine is to inspire others to continue to create their vision and create their dreams. And sometimes that takes a rough process, and so we're open to interviewing people who are hustling and about making things happen.
Okay, in regards to your PR work, how does that tie in with your magazine and what you're doing with the morning show?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we start with PR first of all. Like, I love publicity, and I love, shaping and helping people to brand themselves, and that's kind of what I do. I come in, whether a brand is new or whether they're old, and I help them to kind of reshape their brand to kind of give them something positive to give to the world. It doesn't really matter necessarily if you're already doing a good job. If you come to me and you need help to get there, I love building things from the ground up. It's fun. That's why I love PR.
Okay, it sounds like you're quite the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, editor-in-chief of your magazine. So, how does an entrepreneur that want to be highlighted, that want to promote their business, how do they get in your magazine?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, getting in the magazine, it depends on if you have a story to tell and if your story is in line with the direction of our magazine for that particular month. That's why everybody in PR, you can't really guarantee, oh, I can get my client in this issue this month. That's impossible to really foresee that unless you work for that particular media source and you have an in on that. So in regards to people who come to me and say, I want to be in your magazine, I'm like, okay, great, show me your story first. Let's take a look at it, and if I feel that it fits with our vision and our direction, then we'll consider putting your story in, depending on who we have in the lineup already. So PR is, you can come to me directly, you can come to your PR agent. I don't really care. Just come with a good story.
Okay, what if there's a new business out and they're trying to get themselves known within the community, known within the media? How can your PR services help them, or how will you help them build their business?
It's all about being known and being known for what you do in a positive way, because there's a lot of people who are known and a lot of businesses that are known, but they're not always known in a positive light. So if somebody comes with me for their business and say, I want my business to be known, first thing I'm going to ask them is, okay, what have you already done? What is your goal? What is the direction of your company? And then once I can ascertain where they're at, then I can figure out where they need to go based off of their projected goals for 2016.
Okay, and in regards to the morning show, I really love what you're doing with that. Can you share with our audience some of the things that you're doing with your morning show, especially with the teenagers?
Sure, like that's my baby. The Joseph Bonner Morning Show, that's my baby, because I love kids, I love giving back to the community, and the whole purpose of me starting that show was to provide a positive outlet for our young listeners, giving them something inspiring to listen to every morning before they head to school, or when they get back from school, whenever they listen, doesn't really matter. But the show is really designed to kind of provide insight and encouragement for them as they're making their career choices, as they're making decisions about who they're going to be, the friends that they're going to choose to associate with. I mean, just really giving young people something that they can substantially sink their teeth into and use as a guide for positive decisions in their life.
Okay, can you also share with us some of the topics that you've touched on in the past?
Oh yeah, we covered, especially with the school shootings, unfortunately we have to prepare I call them my babies, we got to prepare our children for the likelihood of things like that happening in school. So we cover issues like that. What would you do if a school shooter, came into your school? How would you respond to that? And, we got some interesting responses when we actually put that out on social media, and that was actually probably one of our greatest shows. We also cover topics on, how do you know when to make up and when to break up? Especially with teenage love, it's so confused. It's a confusing time being a young person. Yes. So it's like, how do you know if this girl or guy is toxic for you, or how do you know that they're going to be a positive contributing force in your life? There are signs that you can look for while dating or even before dating, so as to make good decisions in those regards. So we try to give our young listeners positive insights in those regards as well.
Okay, as a young entrepreneur yourself, what advice can you give a young person that's trying to, find themselves in the world and trying to find out, what their goals are and what they're good at?
I honestly would have to say is, be marketable. And that requires, depending on who you are and depending on the field that you're trying to get into, that requires you attaining a variety of skills so that you are extremely marketable in today's society. So like, for example, you can say, well, I want to be a journalist. Okay, well, great. Be a journalist. That's phenomenal. But what else can you do? Because what if you go out there and you look for a job and all the journalist jobs are taken? Do you have any other skills that maybe fit around that same demographics of your career? So in other words, don't just get so tunnel vision on what you want to do for one career. Branch out, expand your experience, be extremely marketable, and then you'll be opened up to greater opportunities in the future. That's my recommendation, my advice.
Okay, so what did you do for you to get charged and do so many great things in your careers, like the magazine, your talk show, and the work that you're doing as a PR executive?
What did I do to get charged? I think when you're at the bottom, the only way to go is up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's so funny because I used to work in education, and I don't consider working in education at the bottom. But I remember I had one of my old students reach out to me, and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Bonner, I see you're doing big things." He said, "It's so crazy to think that when you were with us, you were a nobody." And so I emailed him back, and I'm like, "What do you mean I was a nobody?" I was like, "Are you serious? Putting up with children every day." I'm sorry. I think our teachers are our unsung heroes. However, when you're transitioning from teaching to the business world, it does require that you start off from the bottom, and then you have to kind of build your empire from the ground up. And there are many times where I was building the magazine, especially our first couple of months of the magazine, and I was like...
And when you say bottom, you mean beginning?
Beginning,
yes,
yeah.
Beginning, not the bottom,
yeah.
The beginning.
We're in the beginning is the bottom. So, but it's like, there are many times when I was doing the magazine, the beginning of the first 2 months, and I was like, too many deadlines. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm too busy as it is. I don't want to do this anymore. And I kept pushing. Thanks to my Father above, I didn't give up. And we've had great celebrity interviews and great, amazing spotlights, and we've come further than I've ever thought we would come in like 7 months.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So just not giving up, pushing forward.
Okay, any last words you want to share in regards to the wonderful things you're doing with the business and other advice you may want to give?
I would say the last advice that I would want to share is, check out the Joseph Bonner Morning Show, obviously, so you guys can, just Google us and we'll pop up. If you need PR, obviously, then, actually, that's the cool thing about it with my PR business that we have clients all over the world. In the UK, we're establishing a partnership now with a company in Ireland, which is pretty exciting. So we're doing big, and also obviously in San Diego, I have a lot of major media contacts in the United States as well as abroad. So I love that. And I think, what else do I do? I do so much. What else do I do? oh yeah, and the magazine. Yeah. So if you want a magazine shout out or a feature, just find me, Joseph Bonner, on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. And you never know unless you ask. So I had one author. She's done. I guess she does like all these these love stories, but not like bad love stories, but like kid love stories kind of thing. So she reached out to me and she asked me for an interview, and I was like, oh sure. She was like, wow, it's like sometimes it's that easy. I could just be in a good mood and be like, yeah, sure, why not? So you never know unless you ask. So reach out. If you want to be in Legend Magazine, let us know.
So my last words are, you're never too young to start your own business or to get involved or to make a positive difference in your own life. And a lot of times it starts with us and what we want to do with ourselves.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Joseph B, and you are listening to the Joseph Bonner Morning Show. Yes, happy Monday. I'm here with a very special guest and our lovely co-host, India, and she is from INCODA Management. Say what's up, India.
Hello, what's up?
So we're so happy. We got a pretty awesome show today. You guys know how we kick it off. We always start with first our celebrity news. Once we finish our celebrity news, India's going to be giving us some fashion insights for our young listeners out. Insights. Okay, so now we're going to move on to fashion in school. Because in high school, when I was in school, fashion was a really, really big thing. One of the biggest things in fashion, at least as we thought so in our little minds, was, okay, you can't wear the same outfit 3 days in a row. Or if you did, that was like considered like horrible. Like you have to walk the walk of shame coming into school campus. So we had a very, I think, warped view of what was fashionable and what was not fashionable in school. And I think as a result, as a young person, we were bullies. You know, we were bullies in those regards. I'm not really proud of that part of my life when I was in 9th grade. But our sense of fashion was warped, and we really had our own stereotypical view of it, and we tried to impose that view on others. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think fashion is important, and how far should it go in the school? How important should it be to our young ones?
Yes, I feel that fashion is important. Mm-hmm. And when I say it's important in the sense that, like, say, for example, if you have a teenager or young adult and they're wearing their pants, the sagging pants.
Yeah.
So that's where, when you look at that, you're like, yes, fashion is important. If you look at it, in that perspective.
Okay.
So
that's true.
And I feel that, as long as those clothes are clean and they smell good, right, and they're presentable, but all that still ties into like the importance of wear, and which is fashion. And like, say, for example, in the fashion industry as far as models.
Right.
What I tell our models, our INCODA models, is like, when you're going on a casting call, do not wear spandex, because spandex is not your friend.
Don't do it, y'all.
Even in the school, spandex is not your friend because it's not a fashion that's presentable.
Right. I agree.
And you want to make sure that people are seeing you, the person, and not focus on your clothing. And fashion and spandex is a type of clothing where it kind of shows different parts of the body that
we don't want to see.
Exactly. And that's not presentable in a certain area. I think spandex belongs in the home and when you're doing things around the house.
I'm sorry, I agree with you 100%. I'm just going to, and I think, here's the thing, is that I believe that fashion should be a compliment to the individual, and it shouldn't be so overpowering. What we wear shouldn't be so overpowering that we completely forget about you and we focus on what you're wearing. If that's what we're doing, if we're forgetting about you as an individual and just focusing on what you're wearing, then you may have gone a little bit overboard with your outfit. It's all about having balance. I think an outfit should complement an individual. I don't think it should be so overbearing that we forget about who we're even talking about.
Exactly, and that's where the school uniforms came in, because students were so focused on what they were wearing, and other students were focused on what other students were wearing, that it interfered with the education.
Even with the gang violence.
Exactly.
We had
and colors and whatnot. So it's like, okay, we have to correct this, and that's where, I approve of the school uniforms because it takes a load off the parents. And
I don't, y'all. I'm sorry. I love y'all. You guys know, you my loyal listeners. I love India, but I do not approve of school uniforms. They is ugly. But you guys don't feel bad if your parents make you wear them. No, you got to do it. Like, you have to do it. But it's not cool.
Well, I'm saying that after the fact, right, I'm out of school, so I say that because sometimes some poor parents cannot afford certain types of clothing, and it kind of helped their children from not being bullied. So I see it in that fashion. Of course, if I was a student in school, I would probably be a rebel against the uniform. But now that I'm older and I see that, okay, it's like a protective device for students that may be poor and their parents can't afford, like the designer clothing or things to that effect.
No, I hear you. But we were poor growing up too. So, more power to the poor people.
You probably thought you were poor, but you probably was richer than most.
You're probably right. If you compare it to Africa, yeah, maybe certain parts in Africa, sure. Yeah. But here's the cool thing about it. See, a lot of you guys don't know that you guys can get some pretty reasonably priced clothes that are very fashionable. Right off of, what is it? Is it Amazon.com? They have some pretty, I'm telling you, like, people look at some of the stuff I wear and they're like, oh man, that cost you so much money. I'm like, no, that cost me like $7. And they be like, where'd you get it from? Amazon.com. They got some really great stuff on there. If you want to be fashionable on a budget, Amazon.com. That's the place to go. Now, they're not paying me to say this either.
Okay, and what's the quality?
That's what I'm saying. It's really good quality, and it's not from the U.S. It's not stuff from the U.S.
Okay. I love the suit you're wearing. It's so on point. Is that an Amazon.com
girl,
suit?
you know what it is, girl. This came straight from Japan. I can't even pronounce who sold it to me. I don't even know the designer. But people are like, oh, that cost so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much did it cost? If I'm not...
No, yes, you can. It costs $35.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
No, and the shipping and handling costs $35 extra. So total like $70 for the suit.
Okay, wow.
And good material. I'm telling you guys, shop on a budget. You can still look great. Amazon.com. They need to pay me for this stuff.
Well, Amazon is great. As far as their delivery, I love their delivery timing.
Yeah,
they're like, just as fast. They're like fast when it comes to delivering your merchandise and products on time.
Some of them.
Well, so far they've been like
for you
a 5. I give them a 5 out of 5.
I give them like a 3 point something
on their delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! What are you ordering?
Girl, there's some stuff I never got.
Okay, well maybe it's the company. Sometimes you can order something from Amazon and it's the other company that's responsible for delivery. Yeah. But when you're ordering directly from Amazon's warehouse, you get it in a timely manner.
That's true. I don't know. I got some issues, but that's okay. We're going to work through those together.
Exactly. He's going to work through his issues.
Yes, it's going to take a long time. So for you guys out there, again, you don't have to spend a lot of money to be fashionable, but India's right. Spandex, not your friend. Obviously, you definitely want to be mindful that what you wear does not overpower who you are as an individual. And you already know how we feel about gangs here. There's other ways to get love and support. This show is definitely designed for that as well. So very good. Thank you for your insights on that. Now we're going to move to a very exciting part of our show today, you guys, and that is getting to know more about India and INCODA management. Now we got an interview with India from INCODA management. So, India, tell us a little bit more about INCODA management. I mean, what kind of a company is it?
INCODA management, we're an entertainment management company. Mm-hmm. We work with underground artists as well as professional models.
Okay, so professional models, is it based in the U.S.? Where's it at?
We're based in the United States of America, Virginia to be exact. But
Virginia?
Yes,
I'm not even from Virginia, but
our models, 95% of our models are located in the UK, as well as Ireland.
Okay, cool. All right, so if I wanted to be a model and I come to INCODA, what would you guys do for me?
Well,
I don't want to be a model, by the way, you guys. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay.
Well, first of all, the models that we select have to already be a professional in the industry because INCODA Models is about our humanitarian projects.
Okay.
And so when you come to INCODA Management, you're already professional. You know how to do catwalks. You know how to do trade shows. And you know how to, brand. You know how to work with magazine companies and things to that effect. So being a part of INCODA management, what we do is we kind of like work with you on how you serve, and how you give back to society.
Interesting. So if I was a fashion, so it just sounds like, since it sounds like you work with a team of experts,
people who are experts in the field of modeling / entertainment. So if I were like sponsoring or doing a fashion week in London or the UK or even here in the US, it seems like going to INCODA management to get expert models would be what I would want to do.
Exactly, because our models have already been there, done that, but our models come together,
right,
to make a team of humanitarian professionals in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So our models, like for example, what we're doing right now, we're working on a project called Reaching Out to the Homeless.
Okay.
And so what our models have done with this project, they've gone into their different communities and they interviewed homeless, and they shared they gave personal care items to the homeless as far as blankets and hats and scarves and things to that effect, and find out some of their needs.
Right.
And what our INCODA team has done, we went to the various shelters and helping organizations and to find out, what are you doing to help homeless people?
It's interesting that you say that, because I don't think I've ever heard of a modeling. I mean, you're an entertainment agency, but never heard of models, of all people, models going out there in the community to help the homeless. It just seems like almost the exact opposite of what you would picture a model doing, and that's really nice to hear that INCODA management is doing some powerful and positive things in the community. And young people, this is what we're talking about, is if you become good at your craft and you become good in a profession, you have a responsibility to give back to the community, a responsibility to inspire others. And that is something that INCODA management is not only doing, but also inspiring others to do by being here on the show. So phenomenal. That is wonderful. So I think that something like INCODA management, obviously if you're doing a fashion show, then obviously people should come to you to get those models and to work with your team, because you not only are they beautiful, but they have beautiful hearts, and that's what can get you far in any industry. I don't care what industry you're in. Is that right?
Exactly. And that's one of the things. It's like we work with them on building, like some of the models may not have families, so we work with them on like being a part of a team. It's like you're professional in your career, and not only are you giving back to society, but now you're part of a family, a team of models that are doing positive things to help individuals make their life better. And that's what it's all about.
And you have a magazine too, right?
Yes.
So she has INCODA
magazine.
INCODA magazine. I think you're doing some pretty great things, India. That sounds phenomenal. Now, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners about INCODA management, or any more fashion insights? Or
yes. One of the things INCODA management does is like we highlight the average business. We highlight entrepreneurs that are new at their craft. We also have an online talk show. It's a live online talk show, and we do that to promote and highlight businesses as well as celebrities. I'm also a veteran. I was in the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and so I've served my country, and it's like now I want to give back to society again.
Good for you.
And to make that positive difference.
I'm glad you want to give back to society. Just as an individual, and using your platforms with your company, Real Talk with INCODA, as well as INCODA management, and using models as well as a platform to inspire and to give back. That's so amazing.
Yes, we also work with underground artists. One of our artists is Yen. He has a lot of great music out. One of his singles that just came out is called The Storm. He has another one, Let's Dance and Give It to Me. So
and he's one of your INCODA.
He's one of our INCODA artists.
Thank you for sharing that. And so INCODA is doing big things in the community, continuing to establish their own legacy. Young people, what I want you guys to take away from this show is, number one, is that no matter what platform you decide to build as a professional, as you venture out into the world of profession after school, you have the power to still have a positive impact on the community.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And INCODA management is a prime example of how you can do that, not only locally, but internationally. So phenomenal. We were so blessed to have you on today's show. India, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm honored for the invite, and I'm happy to be able to, have the opportunity to connect with your audience.
Oh, please. My audience will they're going to love this show. So you guys, again, Follow us on Facebook. This is the Joseph Bonner Morning Show. So follow us on Facebook, connect with us, let us know what you guys think about India and all she's doing in the community.
India and Dante Wilson.
You know it. And then also find us on Twitter, Joseph B. Legend on Twitter. And always join the conversation, hashtagging Joseph B. And you guys can jump in on our conversation. We do take callers in sometimes, just wasn't today's show, so I apologize for whoever's calling in. We love you. We love you still. Any other thoughts you want to add? We're about to wrap it up.
No, just sending lots of love your way, and to always put the Most High first in everything that you do, and it will be a success.
And on that awesome note, that's it for today's show, you guys. Again, this is your boy Joseph B, and you've been listening to the Joseph Bonner Morning Show.
I'm Joseph Bonner, and you've been watching Real Talk with INCODA.